Hello everyone, so it is summer now, and excuse the absolutely terrible lighting, there's a lamp right there. So yeah, just deal with the video please. I don't know why I keep... Stop eating stuff off the table, Phoebe. I don't know why I keep like recording right here, because yeah, it's not a very good place to record. I usually record in my room, for my other channel. Okay, so anyway. So today I'll be telling a story of the time I got lost in the woods. Now, this was... yeah, it was last year in 7th grade. Hang on a second. Anyway, this was in 7th grade. I despise my allergies, so I'll just gonna be continuing the whole video in here because we have this and I have allergies, so yeah, don't judge. So, anyway, mine look like black. Or like bluish black. Like, what the heck? Like, my pupils are so cute. Okay, so anyway, this happened in 7th grade, December 29th and 30th, I think. I know that because it's my friend Ashley's birthday, and I slept at her house because it was her birthday. So it's like, yeah, bro, let's just like hang out. You know, don't let the party stop. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll leave now. Okay, so, yeah, we decided to walk in 15-degree weather to the local park, which had a huge forest. And, of course, being the unprepared idiot I am, I had on a sweatshirt. It was my blue sweatshirt that, like, you know, does absolutely nothing to keep you warm unless it's, like, 60 degrees and you want to be scalding hot. So, anyway, we walked there, and then we were like, hey, let's go walk in the forest path. We can go exploring and stuff like that. 'Cause, you know, I'm one of those people who love exploring train tracks, anything. I've always been in the forest as a young child. Like, that was where I would go. Me and my friends would all meet each other in the forest. Like, that's what we would do. It's not creepy. It's just, yeah, I climb trees. I'm one of those kids. So, I was like, yeah. And we started walking on the trails. So it got really cold really fast, though, because it was like 15 degrees and we were wearing sweatshirts. So, and Ashley had on these fingerless gloves, which are very important to the story because I don't know what it would have done without those things. Okay, so she was like, hey, we need to get home, but it's like super cold outside. So do you just want to like take a shortcut by my friend's house? So of course I'm like, yeah, I'm lazy. Let's do this thing. Because I'm down for anything, man. But yeah. So, that was terrifying. My cat knocked something over. Okay, so, yeah, I forgot where it was. So anyway, we go to take the shortcut, and so we walk off the trail, and there is, like, a bunch of forest around, and there's, like, you know, deep ravines, and we were on something, like, she was, like, the rebel path, and I was the adventurer path. So the first thing we came across was, like in the TV shows, there was this really deep, like, dip in the ground. Like, literally, like, super steep. You could not climb down it and climb back up, but you could walk around it because it, like, was not very long. So, yeah. There was an overturned tree over it also. So, of course, Ashley being Ashley, she was like, okay, we can just walk around this. The thing is literally right there. And, of course, I was like, do you know what? I'm an adventurer. So I tried to walk across the tree, and literally this thing was like maybe like 15 feet down, so if I would have fallen, I would have like broken something. And like with the whole like dip, and there's a bunch of sticks and rocks and stuff like that. So yeah, I decided to do that, and it took me a really long time because I realized it was super icy and I don't have the best balance, so I had to sit down and slide across. Not as cool as I'd hoped at first, but either way, I did it. So, kept on walking, and we realized that we weren't exactly going to reach the shortcut. We had no clue where we were. We were in the middle of the forest, and we were lost. And, like, usually my expert navigational skills, yeah, that came in handy, sure. So, her phone had, like, 3% left on it, and my phone did not have much charge. So, yeah, we decided to use my phone since we're in the middle of the forest. If we were to call someone, say we were lost in the forest, they'd be like, okay, cool, try to find your way out, I hope you live, because, you know, there's only so much you can do when you're in a forest. Like, I'm sure, like, they could call the cops and get a helicopter, but, you know, like, unless you're in, like, we weren't in actual real danger, I don't think, so we couldn't really call anyone, because there's nothing they could do. So we decided to just keep walking, and I used Google Maps and a compass on her phone, and a, moss on trees. Yeah, that one doesn't work too well, just, I guess we got lucky this time. Blair! So, yeah, I looked it up, and it was like, okay, south is a neighborhood, we should go there. Because, you know, we were closer to there than we were actually to the entrance we went in. So, we went there. And it took a really long time, and there's adventure along the way. Like, there was this really big hill that, by the way, was super annoying to climb up. I mean, apparently, we found our way back to the trails by the time we got to the hill, and we were just so close, we decided to exit that way, because apparently it's an exit. And I don't know how, but it is. So we climbed up the huge hill, and it was covered in ice and mud, and it was super slick. And that was really, really hard, and I was like, oh man, I'm dreading the climb down. Like, can I just, like, roll down? And then we got to the very top, and the exact same hill, but down. Like, it wasn't like one of those hills where you go up, and then it's, like, flat land. Yeah, it's, like, a, you know, neighborhood right there. No, it's, you climb up the hill, and then, like, 2 seconds later, you climb back down the hill. That was hard, okay? I thought that climbing up the hill was hard, but I did not know what climbing down the hill constituted for. It was like, because it was still super slick, and I kept sliding. And it was super muddy, like way muddier than on the other side of the hill. I don't know how, but it was. And I had to walk up the hill, and I was sliding. And then back down the hill, it was like, basically, I kept losing my footing, and if I were to completely lose it, then I would fall to the ground and hit my head on a tree and die. So yeah, I'd be very careful. So we stayed by the tree line, and Ashley gave me one of her fingerless gloves, and so we both had one on, because she had 2 of them, of course, because you don't just, well, I guess my friends do walk around with 1 glove on, but, you know, that's not the point. Usually people don't walk around in the snow with 1 glove on. Usually they have 2. So we grabbed onto the trees and tried to climb our way down, and I'm, like, terrible at grabbing onto trees with my bare hands, because, like, you know, it's just, like, splintery and stuff like that. Wow, I'm getting really distracted in this video. So, anyway, yeah, we were doing that, and then we finally made our way down, and we were like, yes, the neighborhood! And then we looked around, like, where are we? So, yeah, and then, so we just sort of walked around until we found a street that we knew, and of course, any logical thinking, we were like, hey, we used to live near here, because, yeah, we both moved away from the spot where we used to live, which is where we met each other, so we were about a few miles away, and we were just like, why don't we just walk there? Like, you know, that would be cool, right? So, yeah. It was even colder outside in the actual neighborhoods than it was, like, in the actual forest. So we were just, like, freezing. And by the time we reached the end of the street we were on, which was a really long street, by the way, like, literally, we were freezing. Like, we felt like our legs, like, frozen, so we could barely move them, and it hurt to move them. And, like, my jaw started to freeze, so I talked like Daffy Duck, like, with, like, sort of like with a wisp, like, but not really, like, a bit in between normal and wispy talking. So, yeah, and I did that, and it was, like, so cool to me, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is an awesome voice. But it was really funny, but, you know, at the same time, like, I'm literally freezing. I'm gonna die of hypothermia out here if we don't get in the house in the next, like, half an hour. So, we didn't have any water or anything, or money, and her phone was out of power, and I don't know why we didn't call anyone. I guess we were like, adventure. So, I guess we could have. I think my phone is out of power too, but I don't know. So, yeah, we kept walking, and then we turned, and then we kept walking, and eventually, by the time we were on, like, the 3rd street, which these streets are really long, by the way, it was, like, we were still walking, but it was, like, that point where, like, if you're at, like, a huge hike, you don't feel like going anymore. Like, you're just, like, sort of, like, shutting down and just, like, you know, you can't really move too well. So, at that point, we were like, oh crap, we're gonna die out here. So we started running, but that lasted, like, 2 seconds because we're not good runners in the first place. In the cold, it's even worse, and I figured out that apparently it's hard to run if you have asthma and it's like super cold outside. Yeah, I figured that out that day. That was interesting. So, yeah, we kept walking and walking and walking until eventually we found the neighborhood we used to live in. And by this time, we were just like totally out of it. Like, I was rambling on about hot cocoa inside of my weird voice, and literally hard to move legs, and it really, really hurt to like walk. So then we finally turned the street and we went to my friend's house. We knocked on her door, so excited, like, man, we need to use a phone, but you know, we live in totally different neighborhoods than these people. Let's do this thing, let's surprise them. And she didn't answer. Like, seriously, we walked so long and you don't answer the door. We found out later she was on Honor Band. This is like the whole, basically a bunch of the story is on my Instagram account, @CraceAcorn, because you know, and because the day it happened, we were like, we went on an adventure and almost died. So yeah, and then we were like, oh crap, what do we do now? Like, we walked to our friend's house, but she's not home. How are we gonna call someone? We're stuck out here forever. And we're like, turn down the street and look down the street that's like, you know, 2 streets away, and we're like, we could go to our other friend's house. But of course, me being me, I'm like, I'm too lazy. But I walked anyway because, you know, it was freezing cold outside and we need to get inside somewhere. So we walked to my friend's house, who graciously let us in after we knocked on the door. And she opened the door and her jaw dropped like, you live like 20 minutes away. How are you doing this? Like, it's a 20-minute car ride from my house to her house. But luckily, my other friend's house, Ashley, who was with me at the time, hers was closer, like maybe like 10 minutes. So yeah, we walked 6 miles, man. 6 miles. Not including the time in the forest, though. And we were lost for 3 hours in 15-degree weather in sweatshirts. So either way, she let us go inside, and Ashley called her mom to come pick us up. So, and we went inside, and it was freezing in there. Like, they had the heat on, and you know how when you start walking, it's like, you know, when you're in the cold for so long, which by the end of it, it was like, you know, we weren't too cold. It was like, you know, going outside in a winter jacket, and it's like, you know, you're not too cold, but it's still a bit uncomfortable, which, you know, I don't know how it got to that, and I heard it's pretty dangerous if it gets to that. It's not you getting used to the weather if you're wearing a sweatshirt in 15-degree weather. It's you're gonna die. So yeah, we're like, oh crap, this is not happening. So yeah, we went inside and it was really hot in there, but it was really cold to us because I don't know why, but we went inside, we were freezing and we were both shivering. So she brought a bunch of blankets and we just sort of laid on the floor, covered in like a mound of like hundreds of blankets, just like all on top of us, and we were still freezing cold. And then her mom came to pick us up, and she laughed, like, you got lost for 3 hours and you walked this far, like, your house is 6 miles away, what is this? So yeah, but afterwards we got IHOP, so that was awesome. Yeah, but still though, and the next day I did get ill. Yeah, probably because I was outside for so long and cold, and like, I know you're not supposed to get sick from being out in the cold, like, you don't really do that, but if you're outside for that long, you're bound to get sick, and I did get sick the next day. And yeah, that was sort of, yeah, a little adventure that we had, because why not, bro? I mean, like, come on. Like, okay, I'll stop talking now. Anyway, thank you guys for your time, I'll see you on the next video, goodbye.